How do you take a story as huge and beloved as Alice in Wonderland and boil it down to just 5 images? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore today. We're going to see how one artist's vision does just that, distilling an entire novel into its most powerful, essential moments. Okay, let's dive right in.
So right from the get-go, the mission is totally clear. This isn't about some hyper-realistic modern take. Nope. The goal is to capture a very specific feeling, that sense of nostalgia and warmth you get from old classic children's cartoons. And that's a brilliant move, because that simple, soft style, it kind of taps into this shared memory we all have of fairy tales. It really lets the story's natural weirdness shine through instead of getting bogged down in a ton of visual detail. This style is pretty much our guide for the whole journey.
And that really brings us to the big challenge here. I mean, think about it. A whole novel, with all its crazy twists and turns, all of its unforgettable characters, all of that squeezed into just 5 moments. How on earth do you choose? What gets left on the cutting room floor? That's the creative puzzle we're going to unpack together.
To answer that question, we've got to talk about this idea of, well, you could call it narrative distillation. It's really the art of finding the absolute core beats of a story, the moments that scream beginning, middle, and end. It's about picking scenes that don't just show something happening, but that actually capture the entire feeling of the story.
So, this is it. This is the artist's 5-scene roadmap. It starts off all peaceful with the dream, then boom, it plunges right into chaos with the fall. The middle is all about those strange encounters and, of course, the legendary tea party, before it all wraps up with the return to reality. You can already see that classic story arc taking shape, can't you? Each one of these steps is like a crucial pillar holding the whole narrative up.
All right, let's zoom in on our first 2 scenes and see how this thing gets going. This is really where the magic starts, with this incredibly sharp, sudden contrast between the world we all know and the one Alice is about to fall into.
So, our story kicks off in a moment of just total peace. Picture it, right? Alice, chilling under a tree, lost in a daydream. This first image sets our baseline, a quiet, normal, sunny afternoon. It's the before shot that makes the after feel so incredibly spectacular.
And then, everything changes. The second scene is pure emotion, pure wonder. Alice isn't just falling, she's tumbling head over heels into a completely different reality. This one image has to bottle up that feeling of surprise, maybe a little bit of fear, but a whole lot of curiosity. It's the literal and figurative leap into the adventure.
Okay, so we've left reality behind. Now we get to plunge right into the core of the story. These next 2 scenes are where we really get to embrace the wonderfully weird, iconic soul of Wonderland.
Scene 3 is all about that sense of discovery. This is Alice's first real contact with the locals of this bizarre new world. You've got the frantic white rabbit, all these other strange creatures. This one image has to get across that feeling of awe and total confusion. Like, who are these guys? What are the rules here? This is the moment Alice knows she is not in her world anymore.
And, come on, you absolutely cannot tell the story of Alice without this moment. If you had to pick just one scene to sum up all of Wonderland's joyful, ridiculous absurdity, it would have to be the Mad Tea Party. This is the absolute heart of the story's chaotic charm, and it's our 4th key image.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this breaks down the challenge. You've got to capture the unique personalities of the Mad Hatter, the March Hare, and that sleepy little dormouse. But even more than that, you have to create an atmosphere of joyful chaos. And this just perfectly shows why that simple classic art style works so well. It can capture all that wild energy without making the whole thing a visual mess.
Of course, every great journey has to come to an end. This final section isn't just about Alice waking up from a dream, it's about what she brings back with her from that incredible adventure.
So our 5th and final scene shows Alice coming back to her own world, but she's not quite the same person who left. The adventure is over, but the lesson, the wisdom, that stays with her. The source material talks about this moment as when the story's wisdom is shared. So the key here is that this isn't just an ending, it's a conclusion, it's the takeaway.
So what is that wisdom? Well, it all boils down to one powerful thing: imagination. Imagination was the engine that powered her whole dream, right? It created Wonderland, it created all of its inhabitants. But it's also the bridge that lets her process all that wonderful chaos and come back to reality, forever changed and just a little bit richer for the experience.
And there you have it, a peaceful dream, a fall into chaos, strange new encounters, a full-blown celebration of madness, and finally, a return home with newfound wisdom. By picking just these 5 moments, the artists didn't just give us a plot summary. They captured the entire emotional journey of Alice in Wonderland. It's just amazing proof of how powerful a few really well-chosen images can be.
Which kind of leaves us with one last thought. What really is the power of a single image? I mean, if just 5 pictures can hold a world as rich and as deep as Wonderland, it really makes you wonder, what other stories are hidden in the images we see all around us every single day? What story would you tell in just 5 frames? Thanks for joining us.